What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Mediocrity Sports Show. I'm your man, Mike, and today, today I think it's like a little national holiday if you're in the DMV, a day that we've been waiting for a while now. It is draft night in the NBA. It is draft night in the NBA, and we are definitely going to talk about it, man. No surprise that it's going to be between AJ DYBANTSA and Darren Peterson. So I got the draft pulled up, got my Shea VSOP on deck, got a little dinner too. So depending on how the night goes, we might be here for a little while. So yeah, man. If you tune into my last post, you saw me kind of going back and forth between AJ and Darren, and it's still a toss up for me, man. I feel like we can go either way. We can go either way with AJ or Darren because, I mean, it's no surprise. My Wizards, we need it all, man. We need it all. But out of everything, we need a superstar. We need a superstar in DC, man. So, and I think both players are going to be superstars. I mean, Darren Peterson with his shooting ability, he's the next best great shooter in my opinion. I think that he can shoot it from anywhere. He's going to help any team that he goes to, either DC or Utah. And then you have AJ, man, with his size, length, pulse, all that good stuff. Yes, his shooting ability is not where it is going to end up being. He's still working on that. He's, stated that himself. But what he is still a bucket getter. You know what I mean? He can still get his bucket. And that's by going to the paint, using that size that he has and getting his. So his mid range is don't sleep on that mid game as well. So can't wait, man. We're just a few minutes out from this draft, man. And and also I've been hearing that the Wizards might sneak back late into the first round as well. Who knows? We do have a lot of second round picks as well. Don't really need them as much with a young talent that we have on the bench. So we'll see what we can do with that. But also some surprising news while we wait for this draft to start. Who would have thought that Giannis finally, because we kind of was hearing this for the last 2 years from him requesting this trade, but Giannis finally traded away from Milwaukee and going down to Miami to actually get it cracking down there and with the Miami Heat team. So that was a little surprising because I know it was I kind of thought that a trade with Boston, because they was the other team that was involved, probably would have been better for Milwaukee if they was able to get Brown on that squad. But Milwaukee decided to do a deal with the Heat. And, I mean, you got the Heat now with Giannis and but they don't really have a lot of guards. I mean, who's really gonna facilitate that offense now? Are they gonna pick up a point guard in free agency? Because right now that backcourt, I mean, it's like non-existence. They got Harris, young guy. I'm not sure who else they're gonna put at the 2. I mean, then you got Giannis in the middle. But yeah, man, they're gonna that Heat team definitely needs some work. They're probably still probably 2 or 3 years out from actually contending. We hear the big name of a trade going to the Heat, so we just automatically think that they're going to be contenders. But I still think that they're a ways out, and especially with my Wizards after this draft pick, taking a step forward and hopefully at least starting to compete in that play-in. The Heat, I think, is probably a few players and a couple years out from actually contending, but we'll see. And it definitely looks like the Milwaukee Bucks is on a rebuild, which is cool. My Wizards kind of went through that for the last 3 years, so join the team, join the club of a rebuild. But it's what needed to be done. As far if you're a Wizards fan, you understood the assignment when Will Dawkins came in. You understood that we couldn't be mediocre anymore. In order to do that, you had to really rip the band-aid off, get rid of a lot of those bad contracts like Bradley Beal with that terrible deal that we gave him, paying him as if he was a real superstar out here, when he really never showed that. I think that was out of, we was kind of a little desperate, didn't want to lose Bill, so we just gave him a max deal like that. But the new squad, new leadership had to come in and kind of fix a lot of those things, get rid of those deals, and kind of rebuild this thing from the draft. And we was able to pick up a lot of good players so far. Getting Alex Sarr in a terrible draft that he was in, getting him with that number 2 overall pick. Looking back at that draft, he probably, would have went number 1 if that draft was redone. So grabbing him, grabbing players like Trey Johnson, and who would have thought that Wiley would have came in last year and did what he did. So we got a lot of young pieces, and then we also helped them out with getting some vets in the building that should be able to contribute with Trey Young and AD. Trey Young, it seemed like he's on board. As far as we know what the Wizards franchises looked upon in the around the sports world of the NBA. No players really want to come to DC to play. It's been like that for a while now, but Trey Young, seemed like he kind of he wants to he has a lot to prove himself. He has a so he's on board as far as doing that with the Wizards, which was a little shocking to me. But yeah, he's on board, but plus he wanted to get his money too. He knew he could, get that with the Wizards. And AD is a flip-flopping, but I don't really feel like AD is in the space to really talk like that. Going back and forth, he's been dealing with injuries seems like every single year. Going from the Lakers to Dallas to now the Wizards, and he's talking about he don't know if he want to play for a winner. Does a winner want you? Is the question. It seemed like a lot of these playoff teams is trading you away. You went from the Lakers to Dallas and now to the Wizards. So do those playoff teams want AD is the question. He probably need to, eat a little bit of that humble pie, play for the Wizards a little bit. Definitely he should be playing with us for half the season at least until the trade deadline. But yeah, man, he just probably he should have something to prove himself. He probably just don't realize it yet, but he should probably have a little bit to prove himself as far as AD. He should just sit back, kind of ride this wave that the Wizards are on and see where it goes. So, man, Adam Silver just came out talking to everybody. Who is your pick for the Wizards at number 1? I'm not going to go through each pick like I did with the NFL. That was long as hell, man. We was on this thing for about 3 or 4 hours for the NFL draft, going through each pick and stuff like that. I just want to kind of focus on the Wizards with this pick. It's huge for us in our rebuilding process. So, but who do y'all think is going to be the Wizards' overall pick? Mine, pick, I think it's going to be AJ. But again, if we shocked everybody and went with Darren Peterson, I wouldn't be mad at it. He's shouting out Brunson right now because what he did and him being a second round pick. But also, y'all pull up the draft as well. Watch this thing with me. I thought they were about to just rip off the first pick. He was like the the first overall pick in the NBA draft. I thought he was about to just rip the name off. But now the Wizards are on the clock. They got 5 minutes, which is pretty good. NFL, they like to go like 10 minutes per pick, but and they lowered that down to about 7 or 8 minutes, which was good. So 5 minutes for in between each pick, and they going through the gauntlet. Kwame Brown drafted in the 2001 draft, number 1. Lord have mercy, good God. John Wall, that was a good pick for us in 2010. Not them reminding us that we drafted damn Kwame Brown and haven't won the championship since the 70s. But yeah, man. So what up, man? What up? What up? What up? Just got on real quick. I wanted to talk some Wizards real quick, man. We got the first pick tonight. Who do you think it's gonna be, man? Who do you think it's gonna be? My pick was AJ. Okay, I like the little war room we got. Okay, look a little clean over there in DC. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. People have kind of been going back and forth between AJ DYBANTSA and Darren Peterson, but I think both players are gonna do well in the NBA. But I just think the upside for AJ is a lot higher than Darren. I think Darren could be at his peak right now, but I think AJ hasn't even scratched the surface yet on like the player that he's going to become. So um, yeah, I just think we definitely need a superstar. We need a playmaker, a superstar. We haven't had one in a long time, so yeah, I think AJ is going to be the guy. Just want to see who my Lakers. Yeah, man. We'll see. Lakers always got to trade up their sleeve, man. So um, we will see. Take AD back. How about that? We'll trade AD back to the Lakers, man. Take that boy back. Everybody knows it's AJ, man. It's definitely AJ for this pick. You don't want AD? Good defender, man. Get you 20, get you 20 and 12. Get you 20 and 12, man. AD. Yeah, man. We're probably only gonna have him for like half a season and hopefully trade him at the trade deadline. That's what I was saying earlier, man. Mr. Glass, man, he can't even stay healthy, and he has a lot of he's coming out in a lot of these podcasts and interviews saying that he don't know, if he wants to be with the Wizards, he wants to be with a contender and a playoff team, championship team. I'm like, those type of teams don't even want you anymore. You know, he got to lower his standards a little bit and probably play for a team like the Wizards who are hungry, who are gonna just try to make the playoffs next season and kind of show other teams that he could at least stay healthy. And then he could probably try to get with one of those teams, but teams don't even trust AD at this point. They got a new injury every season. Pick is in. I kind of had it in the back of my mind that we might do a trade, man, with Utah, man. They give us their future for AJ, but the pick is in. What's crazy is that maybe they didn't show it. Maybe they didn't show it, but I didn't see any phone call like them calling AJ or Darren Peterson of the team, like letting them know that they was drafted. So maybe the cameras are just showing like a video from before, and it's not actual live videos of the players waiting to be drafted. But I didn't see either one of them kind of get that phone call. But that was probably shown on purpose to kind of keep the mystery going. We'll probably get that video a little later on. But my Wizards, man, number 1 pick. Let me know who y'all think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be AJ. I think it's gonna be AJ. Kobe just got into the you all good, man. We got Kobe in the comments. Said he praying, yeah, man. Um We will see. Pick is in. I'm excited, man. We finally, our GM, Will Dawkins, he said the train is finally leaving the station as far as this rebuild process. He said, trust the process. We are finally here where we can get a playmaker, a franchise player to build around and take us into the next step of this process. Adam Silver with the pick. Let me turn it up. Let's go. Let's go. AJ. That's what's up. AJ DYBANTSA with the first pick of the draft. We got him. Like I said, we could have went either way because Darren Peterson is a beast too. But I think overall, man, AJ with him, I think not even scratching the surface with where he's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years, man. I think he has a lot of room, a lot more room to grow than Darren Peterson, man. So we got our guy indeed with AJ. So we kind of know where this is going to. We kind of know the next couple picks as far as Darren Peterson to Utah, but yeah, man, AJ fitting in on this roster, man. We got Trae Young at the 1. You can choose who you want. I think it's going to be a battle for who wants to play at 2. Either George or Trey Johnson will probably battle that out. You're going to probably have AJ at the 3, AD at 4, and Alex Sarr at the 5. I think that's a good lineup, man. I think that's a good lineup. So, yeah, man, I think that is a good lineup to try to rebuild this franchise, and it starts with AJ, man. It starts with AJ. We're not even going to get into the Trae Young max deal that we gave him yesterday. It's not about Trae Young today. At the end of the day, we needed a player that we could build around, and AJ is it, man. AJ is it. I think the biggest deciding factor when it came to either AJ or Darren Peterson was the to me it was, does Darren Peterson really want to play right now? Because that's the main thing that was in question. We didn't know if he wanted to play. He had the health issues or health scares, and we didn't know if his heart was really in it or if it was real true um health concerns. So yeah, man, I think that was the thing that kind of was a thing, because we know that AJ, he didn't have a lot of those issues going on, no health issues. We knew he wanted to play. So I think it made the pick a lot easier as far as which one to pick. So yep. AJ headed to DC. Not my YouTube TV trying to mess up my celebration. But yeah, man, I think this is huge for my Wizards, man. I'm definitely excited, man. And all you can do really, the draft is never like a guaranteed thing. You don't really know, if your selection was the right one until like, at least 3 to 5 years probably down the line, because these players have to develop. It also depends on the coaching, depends on the players around them, depends on the GM to put the better players around them, and the coaches to really put them in the right position. So um, it's going to take a full team, collab to really turn this thing around. But so far, I think the Wizards front office has done all the right things to really turn over this team. Um, like we said earlier, getting a lot of those players out of here, a lot of those horrible contracts out of here, building through the draft, getting the right vets at the right time, either getting the vets in here to kind of work through those deals and get those bad contracts out of here. But then also bring the right vets in by bringing in a Trey Youngs and I'm gonna say AD because we just gotta fix his mindset, but definitely bringing in some good vets as well to kind of help those young players out. Um, and I like I said before in other videos, I like having that mindset of always having something to prove. You want your guys to really want it, really, want to work for something, really, have, that chip on their shoulder to really um have a lot of things to show uh, out there. So, and we have that on our team. A lot of our, young guys are hungry. The vets that we have a lot to prove in Trey Young and AD. So, I think it's going to be a good mix. Even our coach, he wasn't asked a lot. He was just asked to really keep those young players and rookies, together and kind of, build them up a little bit. But he really wasn't asked to really, hey, go out here and really coach up this team and try to win this game. So the focus was really on building up those players. So we'll see, man. We will see. We'll see, man. All right. Darren Peterson. Darren Peterson, drafted by Utah, even though he didn't work out for him. Darren Peterson decided not to work out for Utah, but I think all of that was just kind of a ploy to kind of try to push his way into getting the number one pick. So um but yeah, man, just speaking of AJ, man, him joining the Wizards, the ways that he's going to be utilized, and I like it that, again, he's not going to be asked to do a whole lot, you know, because of Trey Young and AD and Alex Sarr and Koulibaly and, Trey Johnson and George and Wiley. Like he has a lot of players on here where it's not all going to be on AJ, which is really, really, really good. Um, you know, he can get his, 15 and 5, some nights he may go off. If he ever play Boston in Boston, he's, where that's his hometown, he may go off for like a 25 or 30, but he doesn't have to really do that every single night. Whereas Darren Peterson, him going to Utah, more might be asked of him, not saying that he can't handle it, but you know, and maybe that's a better situation because he's more, to me, Darren Peterson is more NBA ready. He's more, you know, his upside I think is he's closer to his upside than where I think AJ DYBANTSA is. So, him being asked to do more for the Utah right now is probably, better for them. But I think overall for the Wizards, you know, him not having to put the team on his back, I think would be a benefit to him in the long run. So he can still develop. Trey Young can still find him in the corner for threes where he could slowly work on his jumper. He's not really asked to just come down the court and just, be that guy. So I think AJ joining the Wizards will be really be the best overall pick. Oh man, Darren Peterson father going for, man, he is going. Waterworks is going. But yeah, man, special night for Darren Peterson too, man, going to Utah. But yeah, man, AJ, I think that was the best selection that the Wizards could have done, man. I think he just fits right in with the players that we already have. And we could finally get down to business as far as actually trying to win games. Like if you're a Wizards fan It was brutal, 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 brutal trying to watch this team for the last 2-3 years, man. Like when you knew for a fact we was going out there every night. Like we're not trying to lose, but we're not trying to win either. Like we just out here trying to get better, but we're not actually trying to win the game. Like different lineups we putting out there, like we knew that lineup wasn't going to do nothing against a lot of those teams. But because we knew this end result, we knew we needed that guy, we knew we needed that player, and we know we're not going to get him out of free agency or one of those type of players trying to come here and play here because, again, like we said, players do not want to come to DC. Which is crazy to me. DC is a huge sports town. If you're here, then we're big in hockey. Nats is doing big things. Commanders, you already know what it is. Mystics, we won a title, not, and I ain't gonna say how long ago, but still, we won a title, recently. It's a big sports town. So for the Wizards not to be a sought after destination for players to come to is kind of crazy. You still have your locations like, New York and Miami and LA, and like, yeah, those spots is cool too. But to me, DC is still it's still one of those hot locations too. But, maybe bringing in, players like AJ, who when he starts to play here, he'll see that, this, it's nice being, in the DMV. Same with Trae Young. AD probably got to flip his head around because he on some other stuff right now. But yeah, man, I think that we finally can get back to winning. Like the city was live back when the Wizards was in the playoffs with Wall and Beal and Gortat and all them. Like DC was live, man. Paul Pierce. Like when we was winning and we was in the playoffs and we was having those battles like against the Celtics and Chicago and the Hawks, like the city was live and we showed up to the games in droves. Like we was there. Like I'm at the games. We watching the games, faithfully, like every night. You know, if the team is putting a good product out there and we know that the team is focused on winning, like all of those things is gonna come. Like we gonna show up to the games, we're gonna, buy the products, we're gonna do all that type of stuff. So finally seeing a team get back to winning is a beautiful thing, because again, I think that we have the roster next year to compete. We was competing, even in some games last year that I was like, yo, why are we winning this game? Like we blowing out teams like, the Mavs and stuff like that. Like, you know, we have a squad and we just added a lot of pieces to this team. So bringing in AJ DYBANTSA as our playmaker, a player that's gonna, be our franchise player for the next decade. I think that's gonna be huge. When the vets, you know, uh slowly get up out of here, when Trae Young deal, this max deal that he just got, is gone and in the next 4 years or whatever, or AD is out of here at the trade deadline, and AJ can really take over. This is gonna be AJ's team, and we put what I like is that we kind of put a lot of good players, young players around him before he, had to show up and really take over. So he's not coming onto a team where, he doesn't have a lot of help. Our young players are hungry, they're really good, but also he got some good vets as well. So the outlook for the Wizards is really good next year. I think we can compete for the playoffs next year. Don't be shocked that I'm saying that. Please don't be shocked. Don't be shocked when you see us in the playoffs. Probably not even a play in. When we actually in that thing, really going at a lot of these teams, because I mean, to me, the East is wide open. Like the East is wide open to me, and it has been for a long time. Like we see different teams like really turn it around and go from worst to first. Look at Detroit. Like not too long ago, we was looking at Detroit like as the worst team in the league. They was getting blown out, winning like 15 games in the season. They was bad. They was the number one team in the East for the whole season this past season. Now they're looked at as a top three team in the East as far as Detroit. You know, so teams can turn it around. Don't be shocked if you see the Wizards in the play-in or making a playoff push. And if you haven't really been following the process, you probably don't know how close the Wizards are. Because we brought in Trey Young, he only played in like 5, 6 games or whatever. So people probably think like, oh, you brought in Trey Young, but you still ain't do nothing. It's like, yeah, he barely played. We didn't want to win. That's number one. And then we also didn't see what AD looks like in his offense. The coach didn't even coach the guys to even really put themselves in position to win. He was just he was focused on developing the players. So, if you put a hungry Wizards team that has a lot to prove out there, with the vets and the young players, you put them out there and actually coach them up to actually win games. I mean, and then of course you bring AJ in the fold with that. I mean, I think we're really going to be going at a lot of teams and really catch a lot of teams off guard. So I think this is huge for the Wizards in that rebuild process, man. But like I said, man, if you sat through this thing, man, it was brutal, man. I didn't even think it was going to end. They kept just saying, "Oh yeah, trust the process," or it's a rebuilding thing. It's going to be patient. I didn't even think this thing was going to turn around, man. Like that's how bad it was. Like every year, you knew it wasn't going to happen. It was not a year. But now that we actually lucked up and got the number 1 overall pick, and now we brought in AJ. Now we can actually try to actually start to win games. So yeah, man. If you in the comments, let me know what you think of this of us drafting AJ with the number 1 overall pick. Did you think it was going to be AJ, or did you want Darren Peterson? Like I said earlier, Darren Peterson, he would have been good, I think, in DC as well. But when you're the Wizards, you need a for sure pick. You can't really pick a player that has question marks. And I think Darren Peterson is a really good player, but it's too many question marks as far as his health and if he really wants to play or not. I did see a comparison recently where someone compared him to Kawhi, and how Kawhi, you don't really know if he wants to play or not. Sometimes he shows up, you don't know if he wants to play. He'll sit out games, he'll get hurt. You don't really know where his mindset is. And I think that's a great comparison when it comes to Darren Peterson. Like, he's a great player, but who knows in the next couple of years, like, where his mindset is going to be. Like, it was the creatine issue before, but who knows, if he's just like that, where, for whatever reason, it can be cramps, it can be whatever. Who knows if you're in the playoffs or you're in the finals and something happens with Peterson and he's just like, I'm not playing. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of give that a little bit. And I feel like if you're the Wizards, you can't really bank on that when you're trying to turn the franchise around. And, they keep throwing it in our faces, but we haven't won a championship since the 70s. Like, you can't gamble on that. You kind of got to go with the for sure thing. AJ going to come to work. He hasn't reached his ceiling. He still wants to get better. He's coachable. He's relatable to the fans. He's going to put, people in the seats. But the number one thing is he also fits in with the roster. Like, he fits in on this team. You can plug and play. And it's going to be fun to see him in the summer league. Hopefully he can take another step even in the summer league, and get ready for the season, because I think he will be dominant in the summer league as well. So yeah, man, big night for my Wizards, man. Big night. But I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. If we don't get any more comments soon, we gonna head up out of here. But yeah, man, AJ drafted by my Wizards, man. All right, Caleb Wilson just got off the ball, went to the Bulls. Good pick by them. But yeah, man, I think AJ, man, fitting in with the Wizards. It's a good day. It's a celebration because we can finally win games, man. We can finally really start competing, man. It's a good feeling. We are out of purgatory in the NBA, I think. And it's weird. This is just my take on the a lot of the DMV teams, but I feel like hold on, got a text. I feel like when it comes to the Wizards and when it comes to the Commanders and when it comes to a lot of teams, for whatever reason, we can't we can't have the spotlight on us and be successful. Like y'all know me and the Commanders is like this. So I'm gonna give one Commanders law example right here. Hopefully I ain't give y'all any more than this. I think I did earlier, but who knows. All right. Commanders, when we went into that 24 season, when we drafted Jaden, there was absolutely no expectations on us whatsoever. No teams took us serious, even though we had those we got those vets, man. We brought in all the vets around so we could surround Jaden with. Not gonna go down a list of we overhaul this roster, but my point is that we didn't have any expectations, and then we just kind of slowly took the NFL by storm and went 12-5 and into the NFC Championship game. But we did it when we didn't have any expectations. Now taking it to 2025, all the expectations in the world are on us. People are saying we're going to repeat, go back to the NFC Championship game, Super Bowl contenders, all this stuff. What happens during the season? It goes to hell. Injuries, injuries, injuries. Even when the injuries wasn't there, players was not playing up to the standard, and we had a terrible season. I feel like with the Wizards, even with us bringing in Trey Young, AD, we just drafted AJ DeBonsa. We've been building up this team in the draft for the last 3 years, bringing in some good young players. Nobody thinks the Wizards going to do anything. Like, and I feel like I love for us being in that position because I feel like that's when we don't need all that pressure on us. We don't need to be that number one team where people think, oh, the Wizards going to be this and that. Nah, don't even think about us. Let us kind of, halfway through the season, going into the All-Star break, you look up and we're midway in the East. We're 5 or 6 place in the East. Like, or even 7th, 8th, like, well, we're in contention in the East, and then now people start talking like, whoa, what's going on with the Wizards? Like, we didn't see that. That's what I want kind of for my Wizards. I don't want nobody really talking about us because I don't feel like we're at our best when we had that spotlight on us. So, and same thing for my Commanders this year. No spotlight really on us. People doubting my QB. Our GOAT, if you a Commanders fan, definitely our GOAT. And if you're not, still the GOAT. But yeah, people doubting us, don't really think we're gonna be any contenders this year. They're kind of sleeping on that defense that I think is really improved, but I'm gonna say that for another episode. But going back to the Wizards, I think that a lot of teams are gonna sleep on us when we play them. And I think we could catch a lot of teams off guard. So, and it's a lot of change up too as far as the East. You got Giannis going from the Bucks to the Heat. You got the Knicks going from middle of the pack to NBA champions. It's a lot of changeover in the East. So we definitely gonna see. I mean, you still got Detroit going from worst to first in the East throughout the regular season last year. So who says the Wizards can't be a playoff contender and really start to change the narrative for this franchise? And I think it's starting tonight, man. I think it starts tonight with us drafting AJ. And yeah, man, I'm excited for the outlook of this franchise, man. One thing before we head out, I like how the NBA. One thing they got right as far as this draft, they keep they have to keep it going. 5 minutes between each team. Pick your player, get your interview in, get your ass on. Like I like that is they keeping it moving. NFL, they like to milk that thing like God, and they moving it from 10 minutes to 8 minutes. Really, yeah, it made a difference because it was already like crazy, but NBA not playing. They don't play no games. They got the first round tonight, second round tomorrow. So yeah, they're not playing with these pick selections. But yeah, man, AJ, franchise player, finally got our guy. Still have room to develop. Definitely got to work on that outside shot. I think he's going to get his by going to the hole. And definitely with that mid game, but he has time to work on his outside shot, especially when we have a lot of shooters. Got a great point guard that could find easy shots for him. So I think that AJ is going to blend in well with this team moving forward, man. So I don't see any more comments. So we're gonna head out of here soon. But yeah, man. AJ, like I said, man, going into the tonight, could have went either way for me. I was cool. I wouldn't have been disappointed with either Darren Peterson or AJ, but I'm happy we got AJ. I think it is a smarter move, less question marks. You can't really have a number one pick with a lot of questions going into the season. So and I think he's gonna really help this team out and really start to change that narrative on what people think about this team. So thank you for tuning in with me, really, and watching this draft first round pick with me, and watching AJ DYBANTSA get drafted by my Wizards. We're going to take another dive into this and really look into how AJ is going to help this team out moving forward, his outlook going into the summer league and things like that. Also, it's a lot of news that's been happening in the NFL. We definitely got to get into that as well. So expect another video coming out to you soon. And yeah, man, hit that subscribe button, man. We are moving this thing along, getting into a lot of different content, a lot of different topics. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of it, and so you don't miss any lives, any videos, anything like that. And also keep joining in these with these comments, like the video as well. So and tune in next time as well. So we'll definitely get into it a lot more. Again, happy about AJ DYBANTSA, drafted by my Wizards, #1 overall pick. I think it was a great pick by my Wizards, and definitely a pick that's gonna really push this team moving forward next year. But yeah, man, tune in next time. Can't wait to see y'all and hang out with y'all again. I'm your man Mike. Peace.